Hello, everybody. It's Holger Müller here with my famous colleague Liz Miller. And
what's up, Holger?
Hey, all is good. I lost count. Which episode are we doing today?
I think it's like episode 97 or something like that. Aren't we at 97? We're like 16. Is this 16?
Were the 3 different special editions we did in between count?
I don't know. Hannah will correct us later.
No, I think 16 it is. Well, welcome. And as always, we start with the news of the last 2 weeks since the last Constellation TV. What was one of the big news items that hit you?
I don't know, Holger, but I have to bring up something before we talk about the news.
All right.
Holger, where are you in the world today?
I'm in my high school hometown, and more specifically in my parental house, and even more specifically in my teenage bedroom, which now has been transformed in my dad's study office.
I just feel like everyone needed to know that, because people are going to be like, why doesn't Holger have that beautiful background of the city of San Diego behind him? And it's because Holger's in his teenage bedroom, everybody. Tweet about it.
And it's because green screens don't travel well.
Green screens do not travel well, my friend, but let's hit the news. Okay, so biggest thing, actually 2 really big acquisitions over the last couple of weeks since we last talked, Holger. The first one being Zoom getting a little sassy. I mean, yeah, you can't zoom in places and have your green screen right now, but pretty soon Zoom is kind of on its way to wanting to become a communications giant, not just a video conferencing or connectivity giant. So they bought Five9, the great call center and customer service application and software kit. Listen, Zoom's making a lot of moves, and I think they're doing a lot of interesting stuff that people really aren't connecting the dots on. So we have the announcement that Zoom is going to be introducing an event management suite in the fall. So now you're going to be able to operate all of your meetings, all of your virtual events, and all of your live events and hybrid events using a Zoom event management platform. That's pretty big news in the world of events, especially since it's coming from Zoom. But you also have Zoom introducing a couple really interesting things like native telephony through partnerships with Poly. You have a couple new areas where now all of a sudden Five9 brings in some really interesting connectivity that's not just about video. It's about connecting your enterprise with your customer and your people with your people. That's big news. And I think that's the big news people kind of overlook.
Is there a market for that? No.
I don't know if they're ready for that, but you know what? I would tell people, listen, if you are RingCentral, if you're Citrix, if you are Cisco, you're sitting there thinking, wait a minute, what's Zoom up to? But quite frankly, what I start to look at is, if I'm any CX platform that is trying to recenter the center of gravity for an enterprise around communication and connection with the customer, Zoom just took a pretty big leap in that direction. So I think it's pretty interesting what they've done. Listen, what's hot on your world?
Yeah, and quickly a fact check, right? We're recording this on StreamYard, not on Zoom, because Zoom would have done a software green background, so kudos to Zoom. I think they're late to the event management space, right? But it's good for them to catch up. I think they also realized they ran at the end of their traditional revenue stream potential, so this is why the Five9 acquisition happened. For me, the big thing is, of course, to see, is the cloud momentum keeping on for the big leaders in cloud, Amazon and Microsoft? And surprise, surprise, it did. Right, so Amazon is back into higher digit growth, which on their higher level comparables was kind of like realistically slowing down. So it's going to be super interesting to see their Q3 if they manage to go like on up, right? Like getting a scoop up on their revenue numbers. And then actually Microsoft had record numbers in that quarter. So that's great and interesting to see. On the flip side, Amazon's overall revenue has been surprisingly a little bit dipping down, which is interesting because where else would you order stuff in the pandemic?
Yeah, but is that partially because the pandemic, that kind of like that mad buying rush of like, I need 90,000 rolls of toilet paper and oh my God, where can I possibly get it? Amazon! Like, is that part of the reason why it's slowing down? Or is it also part of the reason of like, people are kind of like, okay, what's new? A lot of other business models have changed. We're seeing a lot of other commerce players come out strong. You're seeing Walmart, you're seeing Target, you're seeing a lot of commerce players say, hey, you know what, Amazon, you don't get to run away with this space.
Right.
So does this really, I mean, is it just pandemic related or is it the competition's waking up?
The competition is waking up, big factor, no question. But I also think people can go out now with higher vaccination rates. The malls are reopening. They're curious which shops are still there. What can you get? And I think the classic mortar retailers are doing a pretty good job. So many malls have been renovated, at least in Southern California. They're gorgeous places. You want to go there? Maybe you should do a Constellation TV from the mall next time or something, right?
I'm down with doing
we'll try that. Maybe noise a little bit of problem. Yeah.
A little too much noise, but
you have one more news item, right?
Well, there is one more news item, but I do want to ask you this one last question.
Yep.
I think when the news about Amazon's revenue came out, a lot of people hit the panic button that this was also due to the shift in leadership, right? Yeah. But you have a very different point of view on Andy Jassy taking over the reins of the organization as a whole. So is this, was part of that just maybe a panic bubble, or are we going to start to see a different leadership style that's going to take a little while for revenue to get used to?
Yeah, I really don't think so. I'm lucky, privileged, right? Andy Jassy, sometimes a workout buddy doing reInvent. I'm not sure he's going to show up. Right? Same gym time. He knows what my first question is. He always says, "Where's Holger?" to ask his standard question, which is Amazon getting too complex and to digest, and don't you have to package up things? And listen, for the first time last year, they started to package up things, right? So I'm somehow the guy who's been asking for the same thing. So maybe this year I can't ask him because he won't. But I don't think so. He knows Amazon intricately well. He has grown the profit engine of Amazon. I don't think it's an issue with Andy Jassy, but you always have this, right? The founder, owner who made it the most valuable company steps out, flies into space. That's new, right? And then obviously, if the first quarter isn't great, right, the question is the new guy going to be up for it? But
Blame the new guy, yeah.
I think Andy Jassy is totally up for it.
Yeah. Well, the last one I'm going to cover is there was a nice little, a lot of people have been taking a trip to the $1 billion mall, and Qualtrics certainly had the doors propped open for them. And they went and picked up a really great little tool, Clarabridge. Clarabridge, for those of you who don't know it, really brings that customer voice into the organization, into the enterprise. They've got a nice little natural language processing engine that is really bringing everything from sentiment to how much effort people are putting into solving their own problems and customer service in the contact center. And they're bringing that all into the enterprise. And for Qualtrics, it really represents an interesting admission almost that yes, we're trying to capture all of the customer voice across the enterprise so that we can bring that experience, kind of alerting system into things. But what they weren't getting was that direct voice from the customer. Yeah, they were getting people, finishing off surveys. Yeah, they could check behaviors on websites. They could alert to that. They weren't getting the qualitative, right? They weren't getting the actual words and the actual sentiment outside of someone actually sitting down and typing in a paragraph, which how many times does that happen? Yeah. So for folks who are Qualtrics customers, bringing Clarabridge in really represents a new age of customer voice entering into that system. But you know who I think really wins in this case, Holger? SAP customers. Right? So you got to remember, SAP spent a large part of their time as the direct owners of Qualtrics, as it was part of their CX system, banging into everybody's head that there were native integrations in SAP for Qualtrics. You can get your Qualtrics data right into SAP and look where it can go. We heard a lot about how big of a deal Qualtrics was across that SAP suite. Well, now they spin it out. They're still a majority owner, but guess what? A lot of their customers moved over and a lot of their customers brought on Qualtrics. And now this addition of Clarabridge is like turning the fire hose on, right? So for SAP customers out there that have that native integration into Qualtrics, watch out, everyone. You are sure going to get some loud voice integrated into your systems. And I think that's the big win here.
Yeah, I was so surprised that they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
How can we talk about experience management, right? Do experience management on CRTV, and if you don't hear what we're talking about, you have no idea about our nitty-gritty sentiment here, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that the nice thing about Clarabridge is they don't just kind of rest on that. Did someone like it, like that, the angry red face or the happy green face, right? That's not really how they look at sentiment. They look at a couple different factors, from what are people actually typing? How quick are people actually typing? What are they actually saying in that chatbot? And they can mesh that with what did someone actually say in their phone call with the customer service agent. And they can then deduce, okay, someone has been on a bot, someone's called. Wow, that's a lot of effort. So if someone's really pissed and they've got a lot of effort and you still haven't solved their problem, that then sparks a customer experience alert. So, I think this is a nice step for Qualtrics. I mean, I think the nicer step for Qualtrics would be admitting that their platform doesn't actually manage a person. But, that's for another day.
But the best experience management from an experience management presentation is Qualtrics, because they always tell super stories, right? And you wonder why they talk more about the platform, because then you realize, oh, there's a pretty substantial thing missing. So congratulations, Clarabridge. Also, Clarabridge, which has been around for a long time. Nice exit for those guys. Congratulations to them. Sticking to their guns, not giving up on this, not faltering, keeping their customers. And now I think they're going to be an important part of the Qualtrics ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that does it for the news, because we're going to wrap up here. We've got a great show lined up for you today. If you really want to see Holger and Liz debate some more, because I know you all do, it's just intoxicating. I'll tell you, people. We got part 2 of our debate over CRM and CX. Holger keeps trying to push the button, and I don't let him. But
it's all about CRM, Liz. Come on.
It's all about CRM.
It's all about CRM.
All about CRM. Fine. But stay tuned for that. We've also got a little bit of a sneak peek and an explanation of what in the heck is a Constellation shortlist. We got 76 of them, and I'm going to try to explain them to you as best as I possibly can. And hopefully we're going to have someone, an unwitting participant, join us in the salon for a couple more questions to get to know. But with that, let's go ahead, learn a little bit about shortlists. Thanks, Holger. Have fun in Germany, man.
I will. Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's Liz Miller, VP and Principal Analyst here at Constellation Research. And I am here to talk to you today about Constellation's shortlists. What are they? When are they coming out? And maybe even a sneak peek. So, we know that when you're looking at this broad landscape of technology, it can feel a little bit like looking for that needle in a haystack. Well, good thing, Constellation analysts, we kind of like digging through haystacks, and that's exactly what we've done. 76 times. That's right, 76 different categories of technologies we have tried to whittle down to get you that starting point of where we think your shopping list should really start. And we've got a ton of different categories. So we've got everything from augmented business intelligence and analytics, we've got blockchain technology platforms, we've got compensation management, we've got field service management. We even get down and dirty and do things like healthcare ERP. We start to look at quantum computing platforms, next gen application platforms, travel management, workforce management systems, you name it, we probably do it. And if we don't do it, you can probably ask us to, and we'll introduce another short list, bring it to 77. Listen, we're here to help you whittle down that list of all the technologies out there so that you at least have a starting point. We feel that these are the vendors that you need to know in these, that's right, 76 different categories. We're a glutton for punishment. In fact, we love these short lists so much, we actually have to split them up into 2 launches per year. We launch them in Q1 and in Q3 with different updates every single year. But we have so many different lists that launch in Q3, we got to launch them at 2 different times. So you're going to see part 1 start to launch August 18th. You're going to see part 2 August 25th. Because again, don't judge, 76 categories. And yeah, it feels like I've got about 70 of them, but I don't really. I've got a bunch, but the good news is I get to work with some of my best partners in crime, including my colleague Diane Hinchcliffe, who quite frankly knows these collaboration tools probably better than anyone, because when it comes to collaboration across the workforce, everyone, especially during the pandemic, started to look at new tools that they could look at to allow their people to meet face to face. Well, now a lot of these technologies are making their way into virtual events. And so that's why Diane and I started working together on 2 different virtual event shortlists. This one that I'm giving you a sneak peek for is for those big conferences and virtual events, right? The big trade shows, the experiential sessions that really had depended on those live interactions, those moments of serendipity in the hallway where you could connect and say hi to each other, those big keynotes that needed to be now suddenly experienced in a virtual setting. Well, when we started this shortlist last year, we started to look at a lot of technologies that had already been doing this. They'd been doing virtual events and doing them really, really well. Well, 12 months shakes up a list really, really fast, especially when you've got innovators out there that are looking to answer some of those biggest questions around how do we maintain the serendipity? How do we make sure that you've got broadcast quality keynotes, but you've also got those moments to meet new people in a hallway, to catch up with people that you haven't been able to see in a year and a half. This is what's happening in virtual events, especially because live events are coming back. We're starting to see this new definition of what hybrid means. And we can't do what so many people did when they went virtual with their live events, which was just take the same thinking for a live event and shifting it over into a virtual space. That's not what made virtual events great. The same thing is going to be true for hybrid events. So you need to look for platforms that allow for those moments of serendipity as much as they can happen, but can also toggle over and cross over and give people that great live event experience so that it's seamless. So the people who are live are having a great time, but people who are logging in virtually are not missing out. And that's going to be a really, really high bar to set. And that's why we think these 13 vendors, it's where you should start looking, because we've seen some of the things that these folks are doing. They're bringing that networking, they're bringing that connectivity, they are bringing amazing broadcast quality video, and that all together has to then be measured so that the organizations putting them on are not losing a step by not being able to connect to CRM, not being able to connect things to your CDP. You have to be able to have your virtual events platform integrate into all of your experiences and engagements, and that is a really high bar. So kudos to these 13 vendors. I've got another list that, quite frankly, I just stole. I just kind of stole it. Shh, don't tell anyone. I stole it from Ray, so it's pretty okay, right? But listen, I love the digital asset management space. And as you guys know, I already have a damn short list, or at least if you don't hurt my feelings, go and look at it for goodness sakes. But this is our second damn short list. And I also really love being able to say damn short list because I'm not that much of an adult. But anyway, this one's looking at high volume commerce. Why separate out high volume commerce from digital experiences? Well, there's an interesting thing that happened in commerce. When we went digital, everyone wanted that same fitting room experience where you could try things on, see something from every angle. What does that shoe look like? How can I twist and turn it? How can I have an AR experience where I can now see that couch in my living room? To be able to deliver those experiences, you need your assets to be readily available. You also want your teams to be able to edit them quickly and easily. So that means being able to clip a video, everything to how do I get something that's 3D? How do I get something that's an AR file? These are all really complex file types, and you can't just have any old system that's like a file storage system be able to give that to your teams. So DAM for high volume commerce really took on a need to be able to manage the complex. They had to be able to wrangle all of these different file types, and these vendors are the 10 I think did it really, really well. You're going to start to see this category shift, especially as video and AR experience, as well as those fully immersive VR experiences, start to become commonplace expectations when it comes to commerce. People want to be in the fitting room. They want to see what it looks like on. They want to be able to change the colors at will. You need a digital asset management system that can keep up with that level of expectation. I've also got 3 new lists that are going to be launching this time. I'm really excited about them. CMS, both hybrid and headless, and yes, there is a difference, as well as the customer data platform, because everyone seems to be looking at a CDP, and here are the ones that I think you guys should start looking at. So, short lists. You're going to go be able to see them online at constellationr.com/shortlists. We got 2 launches for our Q3 list. Part 1 coming out August 18th. Part 2 coming out August 25th. We hope you enjoy them because listen, we analysts here at Constellation, we actually do put a lot of work into these because we want you to be able to start from a really confident position as you're looking at your own digital transformation journeys. Thanks a lot for joining me, everyone.
So yeah, what did we want to talk about? The European Soccer Championships, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Italy win,
no,
right?
You're trying to pick a fight with me over CX and CRM. That's what we're here to talk about.
Oh man, why do you keep us on track, right? I'm trying to produce bloopers here. Okay, fine.
I'm fairly certain that any conversation between the two of us around CRM and CX is going to have plenty of bloopers.
Probably. So what should the vendors do?
What should vendors do?
What should vendors do?
Other than call us? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Listen, I think the reality is we have to take a step back here and have a moment of sanity around strategy, right? Because I think this shift is a really important one, and it's one that's going to actually fuel growth, arguably into at least the next decade. If we keep going down this path of assuming that the technology is going to figure out our strategy and our inner workings as a cross-functional team sport, we are going to continue to go down this where we're just going to swap out an MDM for a new, we just keep swapping out acronyms.
Bingo, right? You have to come up with something new, come up with a new buzzword. The most shocking thing to me is like things which should have been solved, like integration. It's always a thing CRM vendors would not talk much about, because again, nothing happens in CRM without integration. Integration is the hard thing to do, right? But has to work to make your CRM system even work. And now integration all of a sudden came up because Salesforce bought somebody in that space with MuleSoft, right? So it's interesting that the CRM guys will go, wasn't this solved? Is a surprise.
Yeah, but the perception is always that, that the platform, aka CRM, all of a sudden the integration is how many things can we stick in to the platform, aka CRM. And so now all of a sudden we've just got like this billion-headed hydra, and it's still leaving the customer completely out of the conversation, because all the customer cares about is my stuff on order? Is it going to get here? Is it the thing I ordered, and does it work, right? So all the things that the customer actually cares about, we're treating as like a bolt-on. That can't be the way that this moves forward, right? So I think that your point to, we have to think about that we have to think about the resources, but we also have to remember that there's a relationship at the center of it. And that relationship is now fully bidirectional. I think that's where the difference comes in.
Define the relationship. The loyal customers will spend more time and wait longer, right? Which is a resource. Time is our most precious resource than the less loyal ones, right? The key accounts will be treated better with more resources and special conditions and special handholding and special events and so on than the first-time order or the one order here.
Right? That's expectation setting. Right. Yeah. And you can only set that expectation if you've got things like your ERP hooked into your system, right?
If you know which relationships you can maintain with which very marketing comes in, which to me is underserved with customer segments, right? You define the segments based on your available resources, how many key accounts, how many whatever in the middle accounts, and how many just some customers I don't care if they go again.
Right? But that segmentation has to point to the elasticity of the relationship. And that's the piece that we often miss when we start to look at segments. Because we look at segments through, again, that CRM mindset of how do I push my funnel forward, and which segment is going to slide down that funnel that much faster. What we're not looking at is the elasticity of a relationship that will allow us to potentially to extend that timeline, to extend what we can do, how much longer they can wait, based on that capacity and understanding of elasticity. So that's where that visibility piece comes in, that oftentimes while CRM is documenting the relationship, things like a CDP, and here's an important note, the CDP cannot be a marketing tool that only sits in marketing. That is not a true CDP. Nope,
that's BS. It's not going to work.
Right? It's not going to work, right? It's the same thing.
It cannot even sit just in CRM. Right?
Like CRM that just sits in sales.
Used by everybody. Yeah.
Exactly. Like CRM that just sits in sales, CDP that just sits in marketing, both nonsense. So let's just eradicate both of those from the conversation, right? But that's where you see things like CDP becoming really, really interesting, right? Because it can take that CRM view and it can start to analyze elasticity based on other measures that shouldn't sit in CRM.
Don't call it name wrongly. Right? Because it's customer, right? It's customer experience platform, right? So, which we have at some point, right? But you can't have a platform for strategy. I got now we can debate something, right? But you have to produce it, right? So if it's only the customer data, you can't do anything with customer data. Right? You can send them something new, but you don't know if you can deliver what you're pitching to them.
It's about
right? You don't know if you can service them, right? You have no understanding of the resource aspect.
That's a tit for tat analytics story, though, Holger. That's a they did this, then we do that. That's kind of an old model for engagement. It's more like they did this. How do we reshift that? Where do we send that intelligence? And I think that's where we're starting to see really exciting things happen, right? Sure. And now on to vision number 3.
What you said before is, I think market segments, as much as marketers like to command them from top, this segment and so on, this is how we treat it, they have to be self-segmenting, right? It's customer behavior which drives in which segment you are.
Yes.
Additionally, these segments have not been fluid enough because, oh my God, I'm a key accounter. I don't have a key account right now, right? My job is at risk, right? So what's the next key account, right? Or like, we don't have the call volumes anymore. What am I going to do now, right? So it might be a good thing for the company, right? Because we always try to build these silos and little dukes and fiefdoms which determine a department, a team, a division, and so on. And that is never helping the customer, right? Because the customer surprisingly needs to have every aspect of the value chain of an enterprise.
Well, because here's the reality. No customer ever has ever in casual conversations said, you know what, I really love working with this brand, but only through the sales channel and not through the ERP solutions, because you know what, I find the ERP system to be really slow and sluggish. Said no customer ever. Stop thinking that they do.
But on the flip side, it's a marketing issue potentially of vendors that they don't. Well, it's a combination of that, right? Salesforce had an interesting thing with the Salesforce identity, which was supposed to be global, like 7 or 8 years ago. We wrote a big report at Constellation, right? Where you would know, oh, the customer, me as a customer, I can use my Salesforce ID. It's a Salesforce backend system, good or bad, depending how it is, right? But this level has kind of eluded the CRM vendors to get this boil of the ocean worldwide kind of like LinkedIn, Facebook style system.
It's the age-old story. I mean, Holger, we've been talking about this in marketing, to be honest with you, since the first time someone figured out how to mail merge onto a print document, right? Because we called it personalization. And in order to get personalization, you need a 360-degree view of your customer, which feels impossible, right? No one spins his head around that much other than an owl. Stop looking for that nonsense. It's about what's relevant to the customer and how much visibility we have when they need it.
Exactly.
Right? And we've got to start taking the ego out of it. It's not when we need it, when we want it, when we can get to it. This concept of a 360 is very egotistical, right? It's like, we have the capacity to see everything you do. That's creepy.
I still saw some fundamental difference between B2C and B2B. Right, on the B2C side, but on the B2C side, you have to let customers do things because you can't really influence them often directly. You have advertising.
But it's B2B too.
On the B2B side, well, if it's volume business, but think about like 3 universal selling models, right? Thanks to Gartner to define this, kudos to them in the 90s, right? There's a repetitive selling model, which is like fast-moving consumer goods, anything order taking, and so on. There's the opportunity selling model, right, which you do for high tech and all this stuff. And then there's the influencer one, which is very rare to a certain point, which is a pharmaceutical, right, where the rep never sells something. You try to influence the doctor to prescribe more of your things. And I think they need a little different. In the past, there were different vendors of the spaces, different capabilities, different objects played a real role, and different ways in how you market and push that down. Right? So I think that hasn't disappeared because these are vertical value chains.
It hasn't, but here's the new overlay on all 3 of those models, is that B2B buyers, whether they are an influencer or they're the actual buyer, an implementer of that solution, they've realized something. They're human. Oh my God. So you know what? The B2B buyer is being influenced every single day, not just by people in the market like us who are talking about technologies, right? Not by sales reps. They're being influenced by how damn easy it was to buy a Coke, right? The biggest...
You're talking about the consumerization trend being relevant.
But it's not consumerization. It's the humanization of B2B, right? We've taken out this concept that accounts are made up of numbers or tags. There's a real life human being that doesn't want to flip through your 1,000-page product catalog to find the one little widget that they need to make their thing work, right? They want that same ASICS, Adidas experience where they go online and they're like, oh, I like that. I want to do this. I want to see what it looks like with that thing over there. That's why you're seeing...
Now you're in consumer mode again. It's very relevant, right? So not for dissing this. What I'm talking about is companies doing an RFP to build an airport, to build a power plant.
But you know what? Those same companies want a CPQ module so they can visualize it themselves without us involved, right? And that's really hard for an egotistical brand.
We are way over time, I just noticed.
I know.
I think we take 2 segments. This is what happens when you leave Liz and Holger alone.
This is what happens.
Hello, welcome everybody. We're back to the Salon 50, the fastest 50 questions in enterprise software, and our guest and victim with my fellow co-host Liz is
Hello there, big time author, brand new book out. Everybody go check it. He travels with the book, people. He travels with the book. Okay, Ray, you know the rules. You got some questions. It's going to go lightning fast. We're going to get to know you. We get to know a little bit about Holger and myself. Let's go.
All right, real quick. Liz, who's your personal hero?
Mom. Absolutely mom. She left Korea. She had nothing. She came and built everything. Professor ran a gerontology center at Cal State LA. 100% mom.
All right, I'm going to interview her for my new book, next book, the Immigrant Values book. All right, Holger, what's your biggest regret?
No, Liz's turn. No. And the rules.
No, Holger asks you a question. Stop cheating. Holger asks Ray a question.
You got the first question. You go.
Oh, me go? Okay. Ray, what's your least favorite word?
Massive. No, I'm just kidding. I use that too much. Least favorite word is, it's when people say, what's that called? It's the It's the It's not a word. It's just the That's my least favorite
word. Start going and they go, It's like, yeah.
So.
Still
and that, and followed by it is what it is what it is. Like, I just can't handle that one.
Okay, Holger, you're up next.
No, Ray, ask me.
Oh no. Yeah. So Holger, okay. What word do you overuse?
I have really no idea. When I listen to the videos, I say and sometimes way too much. I really rely on you guys' feedback what I overuse. Achoo. What was it? All right, we're running out of time here again. So fast paced. So question to you, Ray, the man who has all the skills. What work skill do you wish you had?
What work skill do I wish I had? I wish I could actually handle motion sickness. But that's not a work skill, I guess. But that's the one I really wish I could have.
Well, when you travel as much as you do, I think it is a work skill.
So, but okay, work skill wise, I think I'm not a quant guy, so I can't do like high level math. I wish I could do that and be a data scientist.
All right, next question for Liz.
All right, Liz, if you could do it again, would you have taken the same education path or right away?
That's a tough question. Dang. You know what? I think I would have done the same thing because my original path was going to be to go to law school. And I bailed out of the LSAT like hours before the LSAT happened and then decided to go into marketing because I could lie more apparently.
It's fun. It was sports marketing. That's a good
I went into sports marketing. So yeah, I would totally take that path again. Yeah, I wouldn't do it again. Okay, so Ray, what has been your favorite job in your career?
This one. I have no idea how to define it. I have no idea what it is, and we're making it up along the way. So, yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay, one over to Holger, Ray.
Yep, Holger. Real quick. When and where are you the most productive? On a plane? At home? In a coffee shop? At a Starbucks? I want to know.
It used to be on a plane. It's probably now, given the new future of work reality, it's at home, right? Because what other choice do I have?
It's not a Peloton. He's such a liar.
Certainly at home. There's a rumor that I'm doing stuff on the Peloton. It's just my wiggly motion when I'm standing, which leads me
I just thought that was your background. I didn't know it was like... No, I was kidding.
Yeah, I have to run from the scary faces behind me.
Well,
I thought you were like the emu guy running around.
Yeah. Okay, Ray, for you, in the wisdom category, what was the biggest aha moment in your life?
Biggest aha moment. The moment I realized in consulting, it wasn't about being the best consultant. It was about the person who brought in the most sales. Like, they never told you that. Like, oh, go be the best consultant. Go learn this skill. Go do this. And then you never got rewarded. You wonder what happened? And it's only the salespeople that got rewarded. So that was a big aha moment for me. So okay. I'll throw it back to Liz. What's the one thing you would take with you to live on a deserted island?
Oh God. Like a water filtration system? Ooh, God, I don't know. Like what kind? Like that's like, can I be on a deserted island that has a resort on it, and then I take my iPad? But toilet paper?
Right. Let's say there's internet on the island and there's running water. All right, go.
Okay, toilet paper. Yeah, I'm taking toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Sundries
Last
toilet
but
paper.
not least, Liz Foray.
I know. Am I in hobbies? We're in hobbies now, right, Holger? You get mad
Let's do hobbies.
when
Let's
I
do
don't
hobbies.
ask the right one. Okay, Ray, what's your favorite actual hobby? And you can't say writing or being on a plane or like sniffing airport air.
Actually, going through record shops. I think Holger's been there with me, actually.
Oh,
Maybe he
that's a
hasn't.
good one.
Oh, yeah, you're in Milan when I did that, actually. Yeah, going through record stores and finding really cool vinyl and then trying to figure out how to make a mix out of it. So
I
I
schlepped
love
a third
DJing.
of your record collection 20 years ago.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. We're moving out of my house.
I know all about it.
We had
I
a-
know
we had a
way
human-
too much about that.
So
Very
oh,
cool.
man.
That is the most rapid 5 minutes. I'm not sure if he did it right because supposedly there's 5 categories and the guest chooses one question going back and forth. We listen to me, we choose one. Whoever is the lucky first person picked is allowed to ask 3 questions, the other one 2. I'm not sure if we really stick to the rule, but we definitely did well with the 5 minutes.
We try to have fun.
Yeah.
It's like
So what
3D
was the most
Tetris, man.
surprising-
It
What was
is.
the most surprising
It's 3D
answer for
Tetris
you,
meets
Ray?
Mad Libs. 3D Tetris meets Mad Libs, and you guys act very fast. You guys are like boom, boom, boom. So I have to watch. Is this the first time we're doing this?
No, this is now the 3rd time. Holger and I tortured each other, and then Holger and I tortured Andy, and now it's up to
That's
you.
right.
But
That's what that was. Okay, I did
that's
see
what
that.
that was. So now
I didn't realize that was what's behind this.
up next, we're going to start bringing in some executives. We've already got one super special guest who has agreed to this without even knowing what it is. So
Yeah.
he may see this and back out. I'm hoping he doesn't.
I'm
But-
having lunch with him today, actually, which is tomorrow, which is Tuesday in Germany already. So yeah, he said yes right away.
Yeah, Holger's going
Alright.
to bribe him with like something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. We're just going to have to not let him see this before we do it. But we are going to have some special guests who are going to do this because if anyone wants to be in the fastest 50 questions in enterprise software, all they have to do, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on the email. You know where to find us. Back in the salon.
All right.
Thanks, Ray, for joining us. Hey, and if you
Thanks,
guys haven't
Ray.
checked out the book, check it out on Amazon. Well, that's a wrap on this episode, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on Constellation Research TV. On behalf of my long-lost cousin, Holger Mueller, I want to say thank you guys for joining us. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at ConstellationR. You can follow Holger at HolgerMU, and you can follow me at Liz K. Miller. But as always, it's been a blast, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Always a pleasure, Liz. The fastest 30 minutes in enterprise software.
Exactly.
We can do it.
Never.
It's a pain.
Never.
I have no green screen, so I have to expose what used to be my teenage childhood bedroom. Yeah. Yeah, well,
We're getting
well,
a
it
glimpse
has
into
been
Holger's
transformed.
teenage bedroom, and I
Look,
suddenly need to find out what's going on.
I moved out last 2 years ago, maybe or so. So it's my dad's study, right? I can
Wait, you got
promise.
weaponry on the wall?
It is not weaponry. It's a piece of wood carving,
That's
Which
terrifying, Holger.
which can have super. Well, it's supposed to take the bad spirits away.
No,
So maybe-
it doesn't.
maybe-
That's terrifying. Put that back on the wall. Like, face it the other way. If I have...
Let me find something for the Americans. Hold on. I have something appropriate here.
No, that face was horrible. That's terrifying.
Yeah. This is
Okay, there
work
we
for you. Now you're okay again, right? So
I'm
Yeah.
feeling much more relaxed now.
my nephew's Christmas present. to
I
me.
like it.
Yeah.
See?
I
It's like this.
know what Americans like. You know,
It's
just
the-
cover them. So if you talk too long, I'm going to do the.
I know.
wall
I know. But I think,
translation.
Hannah, do you need some terrifying wood faces to hang on your wall, like right there? They're like terrifying little trolls carved into pieces of wood that's behind Holger. We probably shouldn't steal them,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying his dad's got a couple, and they're freaking terrifying.
Yeah, this is the name.
Wait,
I'm not
Oh.
even trying to say that. I'm not.
Okay.
But why is he
Dare.
known? Yeah, it's fine. It's Danish. It's difficult. But what is it good for?
Everything Danish is difficult. Can we just state this publicly that Holger's brother is a dance instructor, dance studio owning software developer?
That's true.
Yet I'm stuck with Holger on CRTV. Yeah. I'm just saying. Right. So again, like Holger, what have you done recently? Like it just kind of seems like your brother's knocking it out of the park. You did not just drive to Milan to buy a shirt.
Many shirts.
Schedule it.
Hannah, honey, never start a sentence with Holger. I don't know if it's something that you did, but now we can. Ever. Don't ever start a sentence with that. Like I can see Holger's head growing in the screen.
It was all about the AC. I didn't know that. The TV
oh yeah, it was all about the AC. The whole Revolutionary War was entirely about the capacity to have air conditioning in Plymouth. Did you not know that? It's hot in this office. I do not know what the hell is happening. It's like we're living in the South. I don't know what's happening here. Okay. Now, Hannah, remember which side Holger has to be on. He has a snit fit if he's not on the right side.
Have I eaten too many doner kebabs that my brain is mushy that I don't forget how to train?
What? What have you eaten? I don't know.
The food I miss the most. Turkish fast food invented in Kreuzberg, Berlin.
Turkish fast food was invented in Germany?
That's doner kebab.
Berlin. I kind of feel like we need a fact check on that because you
Please
just
fact check what you want. True story.
You just told me that Turkish fast food was invented in Germany.
No, not all.
He's gonna
Are you tired? It's like midnight.
Oh, it's like midnight.
Yeah, it's midnight. Yeah, it's a good time to ask.
Coke is a late night animal. Come on. So we got the travel lights.
Late night animal.
Wow.
New Constellation
you're raising the game.
T-shirt. You know.
Can someone send me the link to the questions?
Dude, I swear to God, you're gonna feel my foot connect with your butt between California and Germany.
Just so we work on
Holger, did you see the instructions I even put in the email? You can copy those and send them.
I mean, I'm flabbergasted. I mean, I'm over-serviced here. I don't even know what to say and do here.
This is your room that you grew up in, Holger, right? This is your childhood bedroom.
First question to Liz.
Okay, I'll remove it.
Who needs enemies when you have colleagues like this, Liz? Right?
Listen, on the screen.
Look,
oh God,
look,
Hannah, you just screwed him up. Oh crap! Put him back.
I screwed him.
Because if
now comes the time when Holger obsesses if his head is bigger than mine or if my head is bigger than his. But I think we're all okay right now.
Hello, everybody. We're here for CRTV Salon. We're gonna ask some quick questions of the Mueller tag team. So real quick,
we're
Liz.
asking you the questions, right? Like
normally,
he had to just go. Okay. Oh my God, Holger! Holy crap! We're having to do 2 takes. Shit.
Ray is slowing us down.
Yeah, don't worry.
Hannah's gonna have to cut this up so much. Sorry, Hannah.
Hannah's like, this sucks. Next, I'll get out of your way. Good luck.
No.
Where's my
Thanks, Ray. Hey, Holger, go get some sleep. Okay, go ride a Peloton ride with your parents. Have fun.
Yeah. Hey. My mom is 40 minutes.